In this video, I'm going to explain the derivation of a one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction equation for a plane wall or a slab or a plate. Right? The plane wall is considered to be a one-dimensional element of a body that can be placed in a Cartesian coordinate system. Now, in order to derivate the one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction equation for the plane wall, we have two cases. The first case is if the body has a uniform thermal conductivity. The second case is if the body has a variable thermal conductivity. The thermal conductivity we already discussed in our previous videos, that the ability of a material to conduct heat through it, and that thermal conductivity property changes for the body along the length of it. So every body may not consisting uniform thermal conductivity throughout it, right? But for our assumption, in some cases we assume the body possesses uniform thermal conductivity, and in some cases we assume the body has a variable thermal conductivity. That depends on the case we are going to solve. Now, for the first case, uniform thermal conductivity, I am considering a plane wall as shown in the diagram. The length of the wall is L. That in the initial videos, we state this as X, and that X value is now L. The temperature at one side or at one surface of the body is T1, at another surface is T2, and there is a change in the difference in temperature, which is shown here through the inclined line. Due to this change in temperature or difference in temperature, the heat starts flowing from one surface to another surface. The body has a thermal conductivity K, and it has a cross-sectional area A. Then the properties or the variables that we discussed so far, L, A, K, are the length or the thickness of the wall, cross-sectional area of the wall, thermal conductivity of the wall. T1 is the temperature at one surface of the body. T2 is surface temperature at another face. Now, let us start the derivation. We know the plane wall falls under the Cartesian coordinates. So let us consider the general heat conduction equation for Cartesian coordinates. Dou square T by dou x square plus dou square T by dou y square plus dou square T by dou z square plus g by k is equal to 1 by alpha into dou T by dou T. This was the equation we already derivated in the previous classes. Now, it is a one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction equation. As it is one-dimensional, first, as it is steady-state heat transfer, we already discussed in the previous video that for steady-state dou T by dou T or the dt by dt is equal to 0, right? And as it is one-dimensional, let us say for one-dimensional also we already discussed for steady-state temperature is a function of only one direction, x or y or z. Let us say for this case it is temperature is a function in only x direction. Then the remaining two terms should be equal to 0. Dou square T by dou y square plus is equal to 0. Dou square T by dou z square equal to 0, as it is one dimensional. Let us assume that there is no internal heat generation. As no internal heat generation, that G value is equal to 0, so G by K value equal to 0, right? So the equation 1 now can be rewritten as a dou square T by dou x square is equal to 0, as we got this 0, this is equal to 0, this is equal to 0, and this is equal to 0. We only left with the dou square T by dou x square, which is equal to 0. Now the thing is, the heat transfer takes place in only x direction, or the temperature change takes place only in x direction. So no longer we need to use the partial differentiation, we can use a direct differentiation, as now it is clear that the temperature change happens only in x direction. There is no y, no z involved in this equation. So dou square t by dou x square will become d square t by dx square, which is equal to 0. Now, in order to solve this differential equation, let us integrate this equation. It is a double differentiation, d square. So we need to integrate this twice. Let us integrate that equation twice. Double integration of d square t by dx square is equal to 0. First differentiation, first integration of d square t by dx square will cause a dt by dx to left with integration of 0. 0 is a constant, so integration of 0 integration of 0 is c1, an arbitrary constant we are going to get. Integration of d square t by dx square will be dt by dx. Integration of 0 is arbitrary constant c1. Now the second integration of dt by dx gives us the integration and a differentiation get cancelled. We left with the t, which is equal to integration of c1. c1 is a constant. Integration of a constant is with respect to x is x. So c1 into x plus you assume here we have 0, then another arbitrary constant c2 is obtained. So t is equal to c1 into x plus c2. Right? This is important equation. Keep it aside. Number this as 2. T is equal to c1 into x plus c2. Now, we already discussed that the initial and boundary conditions are applied in order to get the unknown terms. Right? Here at the integration we can apply the initial and boundary conditions, or we solve this equation after integrating the entire equation. I know the boundary conditions, as it is a steady state heat transfer process. Only boundary conditions are sufficient to solve the equation. No initial conditions are needed, as it is steady state equation. For steady state, the temperature dependence on time is 0. So boundary conditions alone are sufficient. Now from the diagram we have the boundary conditions as at one surface it is T1 temperature, at another surface temperature is T2. Means at this surface the temperature is T1, at this surface the temperature is T2. Here if the total length is L, which is equivalent to x in the previous videos, at x equal to 0 we have temperature T1. At x is equal to L we have temperature T2. Clear? So that is what we are going to use now. The boundary conditions are at x equal to 0 temperature is T1, at x equal to L temperature is T2. Let us substitute these two boundary conditions into equation 2. When we apply the first boundary condition at x equal to 0, wherever you see x, substitute 0. Wherever you see t, substitute t1. Then t1 equal to c1 into x is 0. So 0 plus c2. t1 equal to 0 plus c2. Now the second boundary condition, wherever you see x, substitute L. Wherever you see t, substitute t2. t2 is equal to c1 into x is L plus c2. Now from this equation, t1 is equal to c2. Substitute this c2 value in this equation, t2 equation. Then the t2 equation now become t2 equal to c1 into L plus, in place of c2 substitute t1. Now from this equation write c1 as c1 equal to t2 minus t1 divided by L. Right? From this equation we obtain the value for c1. c1 equal to t2 minus t1 divided by L. Now we have c2 value, c1 value. Substitute the values of this c1 and c2 into equation 2, so that we obtain temperature T. T now will become c1 into x. c1 is t2 minus t1 divided by L into x plus c2. c2 is t1. So T is equal to t2 minus t1 divided by L into x plus t1. Let us say this is equation 2. Now, from Fourier's law, we know that q is equal to minus ka dt by dx. Now, the general heat conduction equation, our motto is to obtain this q. Now, q is equal to minus ka dt by dx, where the dt by dx can be written as, in place of t, when we substituted this value, dt by dx equal to d by dx of a t is this that we have obtained from equation 3. Now, differentiate this with respect to x, d by dx. So, only x terms are valid, the remaining terms are constants. T1 now will become constant. Differentiation of constant is 0. T2 minus T1 by L is a constant, right, which multiplies with x. So the differentiation of this equation now will become d by dx of x is 1. 1 into T2 minus T1 by L is T2 minus T1 by L, plus the differentiation of T1 constant is 0. Now dt by dx can be T2 minus T1 divided by L. Now we have obtained dt by dx. Substitute this dt by dx in q equation. Q is equal to minus ka in place of dt by dx, T2 minus T1 by L. Now the equation, let us eliminate this negative symbol. In order to do that, I can write this equation as q is equal to k into a into T1 minus T2 by L. I make minus common from this. Minus into minus will become plus. So the final equation we are going to get is this. Q is equal to k into a into T1 minus T2 divided by L. That change in temperatures divided by L. This is the equation, one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction equation for a plane wall when the body possesses uniform thermal conductivity. Q is equal to k into a into T1 minus T2 divided by L. Now let's move on. The above equation can also be written as this. I made a k into a the product to go into denominator, T1 minus T2 divided by L by Ka. This term L by Ka can be written as a RTH, and this RTH is called thermal resistance of heat conduction for the material, right? So what we obtain here from this derivation is a thermal resistance. Thermal resistance is the ability of a material to stop the heat or to obstacle the heat to flow through it. Everybody has thermal resistance. Thermal resistance is quite opposite to thermal conductivity. The more the thermal conductivity, less the thermal resistance. The lesser the thermal conductivity, more will be the thermal resistance, right? So this is for the first case, right? The important equation is this, one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction equation for a plane wall. Q is equal to k into a into T1 minus T2 divided by L, as that can also be written as Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by R thermal conductivity. This is for first case. Clear? Now the second case, case 2 with variable thermal conductivity. Here also, in order to derive the equation for a body has a thermal conductivity which is a variable, which is not constant. I'm considering the same body having a temperature T1 at one phase, temperature T2 at another phase. The cross-sectional area is A, thermal conductivity is K, which is a variable. The length is L. From one surface to another surface, the length or thickness of the plate or the wall or slab all are the same, right? The plane wall or the slab or plate, whatever, it belongs to one-dimensional body under the Cartesian coordinates. And Q is the heat supplied which flows through the body due to temperature difference and comes out from the another surface of the body. Now, as it is variable thermal conductivity, The thermal conductivity of a body in most of the cases varies linearly. The linearity can be written with the equation as a k is equal to k naught into 1 plus beta t, a linear equation. Right? With respect to temperature, the thermal conductivity value varies. Right? Here in this equation, k naught is a thermal conductivity at a zero temperature and beta is a coefficient of thermal expansion. K varies linearly with respect to temperature. As the temperature increases, K value might be increases or decreases depending on the beta value, coefficient of thermal expansion, which is different for different materials. Now, from the Fourier's law, we have Q is equal to minus K into A into dt by dx. Substitute the value of K in this, from this. Q is equal to minus K naught into 1 plus beta t into dt by dx into A. Let's rearrange this equation as all the temperature terms at one side, the remaining terms at another side. All the temperature terms at one side, the remaining at the other side. Q by A into dx equal to minus K naught into 1 plus beta t into dt. Now let us integrate this equation. We have the boundary conditions. At x equal to 0, temperature is T1. At x equal to L, temperature is T2. We have these boundary conditions. With the application of this boundary condition, let us integrate this equation. The integration of dx is x. The upper limit is L, lower limit is 0, so x now will become L minus 0, which is L. So at a left hand side we have Q by A into L, which is equal to, at right hand side, integration of 1 is a constant, with respect to dt, integration of a constant is t, plus beta is a constant, integration of t with respect to dt is a t square by 2, that t square by 2 can be written like this, beta by 2 into t square, under the integration limits of t2 and t1. Let us apply the upper limit and lower limit for the integration of the integration constants. K naught into t will become t2 minus t1. Here also t square will become t square minus t1 square minus, so t2 square minus t1 square. From this equation, let us take minus common from this expression, so that the minus get cancelled at this. K naught into t2 t1 minus t2 plus beta by 2 into t1 square minus t2 square. Now t1 square minus t1 square minus t2 square can be written as t1 minus t2 into t1 plus t2, like a square minus b square formula, a plus b into a minus b. From which let us take a t1 minus t2 common. Here there is one t1 minus t2. From the expansion of this equation we obtain t1 minus t2, which is a common. The remaining terms are this. Here's a t1 plus t2 divided by 2, which is like average temperature, can be indicated with the Tm, and the Tm is mean temperature T1 plus T2 divided by 2, or the average temperature T1 plus T2 divided by 2. So the above equation now become K naught into 1 plus beta into Tm into T1 minus T2. Now from QL by A, let us write Q. Q is equal to, the L by A now go towards right hand side and become A by L. So the equation Q is equal to K naught into 1 plus beta Tm into T1 minus T2 into A by L. This is the equation for one-dimensional steady state plane wall with a variable thermal conductivity. The equation can now be here. This expression resembles the previous expression. We written k is equal to k naught into 1 plus beta into T naught. If k naught, if T is at 0 temperature, then that will be for k. If a Tm is for mean temperature, then the k will become km, mean thermal conductivity km. As from analogy, substitute this in this equation. Now q is equal to km into a into T1 minus T2 divided by L, which km is mean thermal conductivity of the material. Now see this equation, which resembles the final equation that we obtained for the first case. Right, for the first case we obtain equation q is equal to k into a into T1 minus T2 divided by L. In place of k we have km, which is mean thermal conductivity. So if we know the mean thermal conductivity value, then even if it is variable thermal conductivity case, we can apply the uniform thermal conductivity equation. Right, so this is the one-dimensional steady state equations with two cases: uniform thermal conductivity and variable thermal conductivity. Thank you.